is Chantal Jenkins, and I will be going through my learning management system demonstration screencast for Google Classroom. I chose Google Classroom because it is very user-friendly. I just finished teaching second grade for my 5th year and will be moving on to teach 4th grade next year. Google Classroom will be compatible with my students having one-to-one Chromebooks. First, I'm going to start with my stream section. This is where the assignments, discussion, quizzes, and resources will all show up and down this stream right here. So I'm scrolling down to show you some of the assignments that I have created. Next, in the students section is where I would invite my students with a special class code. Here, in the About section is where I have added some frequently used resources for my students. I put it in this section because it makes it easily accessible to them. Some of the resources include Quizzes, Storyline Online, Brain Pop Junior, Vocabulary, Study Island, Get Epic, and Kahoot. With Quizzes, I chose Quizzes because it engages the students in their own learning, and I can get real-time data when using it as whole group. With Storyline Online, this is a website where students can listen to actors read stories to them. Students are able to engage in reading even if they are a struggling reader. This is an option that I frequently use for my students during reading workshop, and they usually enjoy it. They're able to pick stories that they would want to read on their own. And I'm just going to click on it to show you what they can do with Storyline Online. And here are different book titles that are included here. And one of the ones that my students really loved was Carla's Sandwich. So I'm going to click on that to show you how that works. And what it is, it comes up. And here we have Carla's Sandwich being read by Alice and Janie, and click on the play button and the students can hear the story being read to them. And they can put it in full screen if they need to. Okay. And that's how Storyline Online works. Next, with Brain Pop Junior, this is something that I use with all subjects, and the students usually love taking the easy and hard quizzes after viewing the videos. And Brain Pop Junior is something that I can use with all subjects. I use it with reading, I use it with math, science, and social studies. And they also have some health videos on here as well. With vocabulary, I use this resource to help enhance some of my students or some of my lessons with music. The students usually start singing and dancing along with the videos, and it's something that they enjoy. They usually get excited about it, and they're very much engaged when I play the vocabulary videos. Next is Study Island. With Study Island, I assign certain assignments to my students to reinforce skills that I've taught, or to assign quizzes to them, and these are for a grade. Usually if I push out an assignment through Study Island, I'm giving it for a grade. With Get Epic, this is also a resource that I use during reading workshop. I usually set it up at the beginning of the year with my students, and after I set it up, students can find their name to read stories of their choice. And I clicked on it, and it's going to come up with my students' names from this past year where I had it set up. And here are all of my students' names, and when they came in or got on the computer during reading workshop, all they had to do was come and find their name and click on it, and then they're able to read stories of their choice. With Kahoot, it's very similar to Quizzes. When I use Kahoot, I love putting the students in groups for collaborative learning while using it. And of course, I have to have a special code for the students to get in with Kahoot and Quizzes. Okay, next I'm going to go back to my stream and explain my assignments. First of all, I have categorized some topics here. I kind of did it by subject. I have discussions, homework, math, newsletter, reading and ELA, science, and social studies. I would consider my homework and my newsletter, I would consider those my teacher created resources for some reason. I'm going to click on homework and show you what I've done here. Here I've attached a Word document of how I usually do my weekly homework. Here are the instructions. Students have math homework every night. The math sheets were usually attached to this sheet. And something that I like that I see about Google Classroom, I'm going to be able to get rid of the paper trail that I've been using for second grade. Monday through Thursday, students would choose one activity from the choice board to complete each night. And the parents usually initial to verify the assignment has been completed, and I usually collected all the homework on Friday. And I may modify and edit that if I continue to use this homework choice board. But here, like I said, the math sheets would be attached, and usually I would get 4 sheets to go along with whatever math I'm teaching. And then let's say Monday night they wanted to choose something, they would choose one out of the 9 choices. These are 9 different choices of things that I'm working on throughout the week in every subject. There's some choices for social studies, for reading. I believe this is a choice right here for math, and then this is something for science. And let's say Monday night they wanted to choose this one. They would work on that assignment and their parent would initial. Tuesday, if they wanted to do this choice, they would choose this one and their parent would initial. Wednesday, they would choose a 3rd choice, and then Thursday, they would choose a 4th choice, and then Friday, I would collect all homework. I'm going to click on the newsletter and explain to you how that would work. Here with my newsletter, this is something that I sent home weekly also with a paper trail. And with me creating a Google Classroom, this is something, with the Google Classroom, I won't have that paper trail. In the newsletter, I incorporated everything that I would be working on each week for each subject. Here, this was an end of the year newsletter. In reading, I would tell the parents what I'm working on in social studies, in math, in writing, in ELA, in science. And I've also incorporated the key vocabulary words for each subject. If there were any important reminders or anything was coming up, or if the students needed anything, I would include it on the newsletter. So that's what my newsletter looked like, and I would usually send this home every week. And the newsletter and the homework was sent home front and back with those 4 math homework sheets attached to it. Okay, let me go back. Here in the upcoming section is where all of my assignments are. I've included due dates so that there's no confusion about assignments and when they're due. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, and what I'm going to do is go through each subject. Here I'm going to click on discussions. These are the 2 discussions that I've come up with. This is one where the students can listen to the story called A Bad Case of Stripes. Afterwards, they'll answer the discussion question above using complete sentence, and they'll support their answer with evidence from the story. And the answer should include at least 5 complete sentences in paragraph form. And what I've done here is I've attached the direct link to the story called A Bad Case of Stripes. Let's wait for it to load up. And all the students would have to do is click play, listen to the story. They can pause at their leisure if they need to.
Hello and welcome to the Screen Actors Guild Foundation Book Pals. My name is Sean Aston.
And he'll go through
Sam in Lord of the Rings.
He'll go through and read the story called A Bad Case of Stripes, and after the students finish listening to the story, they'll come back and answer this discussion question. Next is another link for another one of my favorite books called A Chair for My Mother by Vera B. Williams, and I've included the direct link through YouTube for them to listen to the story. And they'll listen to the story, and then they'll come back through or come back here and read the discussion question and answer it using at least 5 complete sentences. Those are my 2 discussions. And for math, Here is a math word problem that I have incorporated for 2-digit addition with regrouping. And I have the word problem here. And it says answer the word problem above. If you need help with remembering how to regroup, view the Brain Pop video. You can practice with the easy and hard quizzes. So Brain Pop Junior is also, like I said, one of the resources that I frequently use, and the kids love it as well. For reading ELA, I've attached a PowerPoint for comparing and contrasting. The instructions are go through the PowerPoint about comparing and contrasting, and after the students go through the presentation, there is an assignment at the end of it where they have to compare and contrast one of the pairs at the end of the presentation. And I'm just going to click on the PowerPoint to show you the pairs of ideas that the students would have to compare and contrast after they go through the PowerPoint presentation. There are 4 pairs of ideas for students to compare and contrast, and what they would do is choose one of these pairs and compare and contrast. And if they were to compare basketball and football, they would have to tell me 3 things that are different about basketball, 3 things that are different about football, and then 3 things that are the same about both of them, and that is included in the directions. For science, here is a quiz on mammals. They'll view the Brain Pop video about mammals to help them review for the quiz. They can also view the Animal Atlas video on YouTube to help them review, and then they will complete the quiz using the link below. And what I've done is I've attached the direct link to the mammals video on Brain Pop Junior. And the only thing they would have to do is click on the video and listen to the facts about mammals. And then here, if they wanted to look at the video, the Animal Atlas video about mammals, they can click on that and listen to the facts. And Animal Atlas is another resource that I like to use on YouTube. The students enjoy watching those videos as well. And then they'll complete the quiz on mammals, and that would be for a grade. And of course, I would have the special code, and they'll join the game and complete the quiz. And oh, here's another one, characteristics of reptiles. The students would watch the Animal Atlas video on reptiles. After watching the video, they'll describe at least 3 characteristics of reptiles, and then they would give me one example of a reptile, and I would like for them to put their answer in complete sentences. Here is another assignment about types of communities. That's something that we study in 2nd grade. We talk about urban, suburban, and rural communities. And what I've done here is attached a Nearpod lesson on types of communities. And what they would do is they would go through, click on that attachment. The students would go through the Nearpod lesson about each type of community. And the only thing I would want them to do with this lesson is answer the questions as they go through the lesson and also complete the quiz at the end of the lesson. So this is a Nearpod on urban, suburban, and rural communities. In this lesson, the students will learn about urban, suburban, and rural communities and what they are and characteristics of them. That's a question about what type of community you live in. And here are the characteristics about urban. And then they have a short video about an urban community. And I believe a question is here. Okay, and there's a question about urban community. And with this lesson, it gives the characteristics about each type of community. Then it gives a short video about the community. And then they have to answer that question. And the quiz is at the end. And that is the end of my demonstration screencast for my Google Classroom.